everybody. Welcome to a little rainy, wet Monday here at High Point Market, but perfect time for a fireside chat. So this is a series that we've been putting on. We've been recording these. They will be available on our YouTube page. And if it's your first time to Regina Andrew, welcome. If you don't know a little bit about the company, I'll just share a little bit of insight, and then we definitely encourage you to go and shop the showroom and experience what we have to offer. But the company was founded just over 26 years ago. Carla, Regina, James, Andrew, they're the driving force and founders of the company and our lead creatives, so involved in all of our product design, product development. The company is based in Detroit. We do some fun things there, including the jewelry pop-up that is in front of me and behind many of you, so take advantage of that. Cash and carry, always great to go home with something. In the showroom itself, we do make the entire showroom shoppable for you. So you can check in at the desk, they'll give you like a little scanner. You can go around, scan to your heart's content, and if you have an account with us, that will show up on your online account, but you'll all get an email of the things that you have that you've been interested in. Later today, we have a fun little cocktail event at 4. And over at the bar, you'll see these little QR codes to scan. So we're doing a contest with Caesar Stones, our friend at Caesar Stone. You can win a $1,000 credit towards a slab. And then we are giving away a $500 credit towards Regina Andrew. So that'll just be an online credit that you can use. So, and if you don't have an account with us and you want to take advantage of all of the fun things we said, you can just quickly do that online. So today we're really excited about the panel that we have here. We've started a new program about 6 months ago that we're calling our Brand Ambassador Program. And we're really excited to have our brand ambassadors here. So excited to kind of share. We try to really lean into our design partners from a content creation standpoint and storytelling. So we do that through our Instagram, Regina Andrew Detroit. You can follow us there and see a lot of the projects that we've been working on with these folks. And then we also do it in our printed piece called Golden Hour. So you'll see we actually did a piece in Golden Hour on Dalton, Windsor. So you see that. Windsor Dalton, I'm sorry. Okay. So just talking about Dalton so much just a second ago, so sorry about that. So you'll have a chance to look at that. These are in the gift bags. And then if you didn't get a t-shirt and you were one of the 25 here, or you're pretty close to 25, take advantage of some of the fun t-shirt designs that we have. So I'm going to kick it over to Erika, and Erika is going to have each person just kind of introduce themselves, their firm, and where they're from. Erika Saurit, of course, does a lot of educational programming at Market and has a consulting firm. She's based in High Point in Paris, I believe, which is it's two little very interesting places to be, so which is great. So I'm going to kick it over. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for joining us.
Is this on? Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. Hi, everyone. Happy rainy Monday. We know you have a ton of places to visit and really, really appreciate your time and coming over on a rainy Monday. But, I mean, I can't imagine a better place to hang out than Regina Andrew. Thank you, Neil. Thank you to all our panelists. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And, if this is your first time in the showroom. Okay. 2, 3. That's it. Good. All right. Well, shop. So we're here today to talk about brand partnerships, which is always a hot topic for designers looking to diversify their business, really build their authority machine in this industry and put their point of view out there with a like-minded partner who supports designers. And Regina Andrew is just, again, Neil said, really invested in you and what they can do to help you grow and help you source, all the things you need for your projects. So is it too loud? Okay. Come on over if you can hear my voice. You should be in this room. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of give a little context for where we are right now, and then I will ask you each to do a quick introduction, where you're located, what you're doing, who you are, just in case people don't know. And I'll give you a little prompt of a question to kind of wrap up your intro. But we've really entered a new era of design, and this is one where designers hold the power. You're not just creating beautiful spaces, but you're building entire empires. You're all tastemakers, educators, and creative entrepreneurs who are really, like I said, carving out a really important space in the market. So how do you take that influence and turn it into opportunity? Okay, partnerships between designers and brands are not new, but they are evolving. There's a complex, set of circumstances you need to be ready for that we'll talk about, as well as you need to be able to find the right partner who can help you share your point of view. So what does it look like to collaborate in a way that's smart, authentic, and feels truly mutually beneficial? I'll let you guys introduce yourselves really quickly within 1 minute, and then I want you to answer a question to get us started. What makes a brand designer partnership worth it? It's a lot of work. It takes, really making space and thinking strategically about how and when is the right time to do this. But I'm curious, what were you looking for in a brand partner at this stage in your business? So kind of talk us through who you are, where you are, and how this partnership evolved. Do you want to get us started?
Sure. Is this on? Okay, it is. Hi, my name is Windsor Dalton. I'm a designer based in North Carolina, and I split time between North Carolina and New York. But I love being here in the furniture capital of the world all year long. So I think brand partnerships and this new era of design that we're in is a really interesting one. And my partnership with Regina Andrew, I feel, came very organically. I was sourcing their product a lot. And I think it's very similar to your relationship with clients, where you want that to feel like a friendship, and you want it to feel like something that emotionally kind of makes sense, that you're gravitating towards and you feel fits your style. So for me, it just felt very organic and natural, and it was something I was kind of already doing. So it was like, hey, why don't we expand upon this and make it even better? And that's kind of how we got here today.
Just real quick, did you approach them? Did they approach you? How'd that conversation start?
I think you guys approached me. We had like a quick call, and then, but I think on social, it's such a powerful platform because we were already, tagging projects and, even on little things. I always tell people, like, I really got started from social media, and we would just be unboxing a lamp and saying like, hey, I got this lamp. Scale's so important when it comes to table lamps, and like, Regina Andrew is one of my favorite go-to table lamp resources, just totally, again, organically. And then I think it just kind of developed that conversation for us to say, hey, this has legs. This is something we can expand upon. And it's also something that my audience and my clients were already interested in, so.
So really focusing on that education piece.
Yeah.
And okay. You're next.
Hello. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Rasheeda Gray of Gray Space Interiors, based out of Philadelphia. And I'm an interior designer. Our firm's been in business almost 10 years. Television personality and budding influencer. But yeah, I think
I think you're in full bloom, girl.
Oh, thank you.
Not budding anymore.
And I'm excited to be a style spotter for this market. I think my partnership with Regina Andrew came out of relationship. And so Neil McKenzie, who's head of marketing for Regina Andrew, and I have had a relationship just working together on different brands over the last maybe almost 10 years. And so when I realized that he's with Regina Andrew, I then became familiar with the brand. And then when I saw the brand, I was like, oh, this works very well for my aesthetic. And then sort of it evolved naturally. I think brand partnerships are something new. It's something that's really groundbreaking in our industry, and I think there are a lot of brands that are exploring it. And the one thing that I've learned is, because it's new on both sides for designers and for brands, that it's okay to sort of come up with an idea or pitch a brand. And so I approached Regina Andrew, but it's a basis of the relationship that already existed. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nichole. This is my business partner, Yvonne. We're based in Utah. We have 2 offices, one in southern Utah and one in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have a lot of clients that are building second and third homes, so it's nice to have a home base in both areas. We have a small boutique firm. We have about 49 projects going right now. We do full build, full furnish.
49?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Wow.
Not all are furnished, but yes. So Regina's one of the very first brands that I ever started sourcing from. I went to school for design. I had my own firm for about 10 years, and then Yvonne and I partnered in 2021, yeah. And so now we're House of Design. But Regina has always been just such a great brand with so much variety and natural finishes and organic shapes. And one of the things that we love to do in our design is implement organic material. And so Regina is just, the epic for all the finishes. And our relationship with Regina has grown over the years. And like you mentioned earlier, we've been great friends with Neil, and so he approached us, and of course, we're going to be brand ambassadors for this amazing brand. One important thing that I wish someone would have told me when I was starting out is the relationship with your vendors, and also their processes, their how they handle customer service issues, product availability, and things like that. And Regina checks all the boxes when it comes to all of those concerns for us. So we love Regina.
I'm Yvonne Christensen. We co-founded House West Design together after merging. And yeah, just to touch on that a little bit, it is so important for us to have relationships with our vendors where the customer service is top notch. No matter what the product is, if we don't have that customer service from our reps, we can't source there, because if there's ever any warranty issues, you just need to be well taken care of. But yeah, I've been so impressed with a lot of the upholstery I'm seeing today in your showroom, like the expansion into different beautiful products and fabrics, and I just feel like a great all-around product line, so yeah.
So one of the things I do in my business is to help brands, whether they're interior design brands or product brands or something else in the home industry, is to really understand kind of who they are so that they can better communicate to their clients. So, in the case of a product brand who's really looking to differentiate themselves and stand out, you have a ton of choices, obviously. If you've ever if you've been in this industry in any amount of time, you realize you all have between all categories, there's price, there's style, there's construction. But what really stands out most to designers, I know, and to brands who kind of over-index on investing in customer service, is that becomes such a huge part of the brand, because that's really what designers care about. Their reputation's on the line when a brand delivers what they say they're going to do. So they stand behind the promise of what they're offering to designers. And I think that makes a huge decision factor for you and who you want to work with and who you want representing. If you're going to be the ambassador for the brand, you have to truly believe that they're going to deliver on what they say they will. So I want to just dive into that a little bit. Windsor, you can talk a little bit more about your background on the brand side, because before launching your design business, you worked in brand. So how did that experience shape the way you approach this partnership? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually got my start in the furniture industry on the marketing side. So I was working for designers and furniture manufacturers, everything from social media to catalogs to staging, all types of things. And what I really found was that there was actually this huge disconnect, I thought, from the furniture side of the business and kind of the vendor side versus the designer side, which was wild to me, because I'm everyone's right here at market. We're right next to each other. We're emailing everyone on a daily basis. And that was when I started my own design business, something that I really wanted to wrap my hands around. I think that quality is obviously such an important factor of that, but also understanding lead times, price points, what clients are exposed to. There's just so many factors that go into giving a client, I feel like, a very, high-end and full approach, aspect to design. And I think having confidence in your vendors is what makes a huge part in that. I always say, with Regina Andrew items too, if I'm pitching something on a board or whatever, I'm it looks even better in person. And I think that's such a huge thing, because I've had the exact opposite happen, where something looks beautiful in a catalog and we get it and it's the finish really wasn't what we had expected, or, it feels a little lightweight or rickety or whatever it is. So yeah, I tried to really take that into heart when I started my design business, and I think that we are in a kind of a luxury service. This is like a higher end market usually, and it's something that people are also putting a lot of emotional weight into. So I think knowing both sides of the business is just important to be able to give your client the best possible outcome. And at the end of the day, the client is really who is making all of this possible, because without those projects, you know, we don't have someone to sell to and we don't have someone to buy from. So, yeah.
It's true. Rasheeda, I'm going to ask you a little bit because I know you have a background in marketing too. You said every partnership you need to take on has to check 3 boxes.
Did I?
You did. I'm going to remind you. Creative outlet,
Yeah.
marketing strategy,
Yes.
and authentic connection.
Oh, yeah, true.
Go there. Tell us
Okay.
about those.
Project meaning brand partnership or client? Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I have the unique lens of being able to think about how my partnership not only benefits myself and my design firm, but I think that it is prudent on us to think about how it benefits the brand. And so I want to make sure that I can provide a good ROI to the brand as well, so that they will want to continue the partnership or pass that along to the next designer or influencer. So yeah, I think from a marketing perspective, it just really has to make sense in terms of return on investment. And then in terms of, I had a story in mind, and it was not to answer that question. I'm going to say
Go,
that
take
the
your
end
story.
of it.
Go.
No, I'm going to continue answering, and then I have a story. Second part is creative. Yeah, I just think if you enter into a brand partnership and the creativity or the aesthetic doesn't align, then it's going to feel like a forced fit. And I think that our audiences, whether it's on social media or our clients, will know that it's a forced fit. I think the worst thing we can do is, because I work with a brand, I'm going to force a product into your home. That's terrible. So I think that's really important to make sure it's a creative fit. And then tell me what my third thing was.
Authentic connection.
Oh, yeah, but I think I spoke to that a little bit.
Strategy, creative outlet.
Okay. I want to share a story. So I have partnered with brands over almost 10 years, many brands, dozens of brands. And I just think we all have to be very careful and do our research. And I have a lesson learned because one of the brands I partnered with had a huge, terrible, nasty bankruptcy, very public, and they weren't fulfilling orders. And it's an upholstery brand, and it's B2C and a little B2B. I won't say anymore. You probably remember this from a couple years ago. I had a client spent $8,000 on the sofa, and they were not going to get it. And it was just a mess. And I felt terrible because I did partner with them on the brand partnership. And so from my influence, I think that someone may have purchased from them. And what if they did not get their order fulfilled, or what if they had a terrible experience? And so I think it's really important as a brand partner that you really do some digging and some research, and it has to be the right brand to align with.
Is there anything you were able to do? I mean, it reflects on you. You know, you make a commitment to that brand, and if unseen factors, I mean, you were never to know that was going to happen.
Huge.
I know who they
You know
are.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, thank God it worked out. But it just was a lesson to me to be very careful about who you say yes to work with. Yeah, we all want the opportunities, but you just have to be very selective.
I'd love to hear a little bit too. Any early signals that tell you this is going to be a good partnership? Have you guys gone through any processes? It's due diligence in a way, but what you've each said already is that you've already, in the case of Regina and Andrew, been using the product. You know what to expect, and you can stand behind that quality.
I think for us, it was about the people and the product. So we already had a relationship. When we come to market, one of our goals is to spend time with our reps and really get to know them. We want them to know us. We want them to send us product that they think might be right for our clients via email. Like, this would look so good in one of your homes. Like, having that relationship and having your sales rep also get to know you is really important, because obviously there's so many options out there. So obviously it has to have diverse products. We do a lot of different projects. Most of our clients a lot of them are design enthusiasts. So on the brand side, it's really important for us to be informed about the brand, to be able to share that experience on our Instagram. And we have a lot of people that are following along that want to purchase what we're putting in our client's home. And with this brand partnership, the fact that you have the retail store where people can go online and purchase the products and they don't necessarily have to go through a designer, I think that's really important for the people that we work with, that follow us, that it's attainable. Obviously, design is a luxury industry, but we want to really also connect with the people that aren't necessarily able to use a designer or build a new home and fully furnish, of course. So I think having the price point, the e-commerce site, and then, of course, like the people and the relationships is just so important.
I think that's a really good point. When you're thinking about influencer work, of course, as a design firm owner, our target client is high-end luxury. But if you're in the brand partnership space, you have to find an angle that still works with your design firm's ethos that speaks to the masses. And so that's why it was a yes for me as well with Regina, Andrew, because of that angle. They do have a B2C platform. So I just think that that's important because folks are like, how are you being an influencer and talking about, I don't know, let's say it's Wayfair. Or something like that, and then you're also offering luxury service. I just think it's a really fine balance between the two.
Thank you. That's a really great transition into the next question. I want to get to the business side of this. Like, there's a real ROI for you as well, but yet there's still a deeper investment, and you really need to be ready and set up internally to be able to take on a project like this. We were walking around just before the panel, and you guys knew, they know the product line so well that it was like, we can use this for, that blew my mind. I was so impressed that, and again, maybe offering some suggestions to the brand on what you need as designers for outdoor projects or for particular regions where, some guidelines drive your decision making in your projects. But this and you can offer back some ideas. That I was so impressed by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important to be able to have the opportunity to communicate with the brand. Like I said before, we're in Utah and we have an office in Salt Lake and St. George. It's two completely different climates. And so we do a lot of indoor-outdoor spaces down in southern Utah, and we need to know what the ratings are for the light fixtures and the quality of the fabric, and is it outdoor rated and things like that. And so to be able to have that in with the brand and get the information is key. The more you educate your client, the more they feel confident that we're going to be suggesting product that is sustainable and will last in the elements, right? And so the wealth of knowledge that we're able to get from the brand has been very impactful for us. And like I said before, it's it's like the family, it's the relationship, it's getting to know people and just really know the line and the brand. And that's why we just have a connection to this brand. And Regina is one of the very first brands I've ever used when I was a young little designer coming to market for my first time, not knowing what the heck I was doing. And I was just welcomed with warm arms. And it's been like that ever since, 15 years later. So, yes, we love Regina.
I love that. You're kind of growing together. That's awesome. Okay, back to the business strategy, return on investment for both the brand and for you. Okay, so how do brand partnerships actually support your growth? A lot of, and I would like to talk specifically about, the idea of content creation. Each of you are presenting your point of view, what your audience cares about. And so there's a strategy between, how internally you're investing in content, whether it's video or programming or photos. So let's talk about that. I'll ask each of you, but whoever wants to kind of jump in first. How do you budget for this type of collaboration? When does it start? How do you think about it? Fit it into your business for us, and let's go there. I do have a note that, there's something about the pricing structure that helps you offset the cost of content development, photo shoots, and that becomes a really smart business insight I think people would love to hear about.
I can jump in a little bit there. So one specific project that I just recently completed was my own personal kitchen. And every time I'm ready to level up in my business or take it to the next level or attract the next level of clientele, I will do something in my own home to show that. I have to show the client that it can be done within our firm. I have to have proof that I can do it. And so my home is the test kitchen. And I partnered with Regina Andrew on that. And I took 5 years to get to do my kitchen because I wanted to find the right brands. And I wanted to create a very high-end luxury look, feel, experience. And I did not want to do it half-ass. And so I waited till the right brands came along and waited till I had the right partnerships to execute it. And for me, I hired the right photographer as well. And I've pitched it to magazines and all those great things. But it was a whole entire sort of marketing strategy. That was one of my marketing initiatives for this year so that I can attract clients. It works for Regina and other brands because now they have material for marketing. And then it works for myself because now I'm using that to market to new clients. My husband's a general contractor, and we're trying to build that side of the business. And so just making sure that he and I are both in front of the camera, like it was a whole strategy for this year. So,
And did you laid all that out before the project started?
Yes.
And you approached the brands knowing, okay, good.
Yep. Yeah, that was the intention all along. And it took a little while to get there, but I'm happy with the result and what it's bringing us as well.
And I have one more thought with that is I love that you said that you are using your home as your test kitchen. You really want to express your personal style as a designer because you want to make sure you are attracting the clients that will, really vibe with you. It's so important to create that authentic relationship because in most cases you're spending a year to 2 years with these clients. So it's very important to be able to have a brand that basically expresses what we want, in design. And so you don't need to just post all the things. Post the things that you really feel connected to and a love for, and your clients will come to you because they feel that, connection as well. So,
Yeah, very true. I said yesterday on a panel, I only post 30% of my work because the other 70% pays the bills and all those great things, and they're lovely projects and great people and great clients, but I want to move on from those projects. So.
And to piggyback off of that, so I think using your own home as a test kitchen I've done the same thing. I think it's a really great way to leverage content. I feel I'm the same. I would say probably 25 or 30% is what actually makes it to social media. And I think we all have those clients that are like, this is my grandmother's sofa, I have to use it. And we're like, oh, okay, it's gonna ruin everything, but fine. So that's a big reason a lot of times why we don't invest in photography, because I'm like, well, if it's not gonna be perfect, people are gonna look at this image and think, you could have chosen anything in the world and these were the things you picked. So I'm very selective on what we really put out there, but that's again how I kind of got started with Regina. I had sconces in my bathroom from Regina. I had some floor lamps, some things like that. And with social media, we constantly need content. I always tell people it's like this pet you didn't know you adopted that you have to just keep feeding and watering and all these things. But that was how I really, when I had gaps or lags, I would say, you know what, let me go restyle the sunroom and put this floor lamp in there, or it's the seasons transitioning, and it just gave people another reason to see the product. But I think that again goes back to the authenticity, because if I didn't like the product, I certainly wouldn't put it in my own home. And I think that's a big relief factor for clients. A lot of times I'll say, oh, I have, these are in my bathroom. I love them. Trust me, you'll like them. And I think that the trust aspect is such a thing that clients struggle with, because I've brought several clients to market before, and I think that people do not realize how vast the furniture industry is. And I think that they suddenly get overwhelmed that there are so many options, or from looking online, there's so many options. So I think to go in and say, you're gonna like this. Trust me, I have this. I've worked with it. Or you can see a real lifestyle photo or a video of me doing this on Instagram. You know, I think that gives people the confidence to make those bigger purchases.
No, I think you all come to this with a really unique process, right? You're doing your own editing, marketing, like shooting, filming, photography, video, all the things, and all the while, there's like that edutainment, educational, which is really critical to your brand, but also really getting and bringing people into the story of the products that you prefer. Whereas, you know, maybe you don't necessarily have time to do that, or that doesn't reflect something in your own business. So do you guys want to talk a little bit about, I mean, I know, Rasheeda, if you're setting up and structuring, like, knowing the project's going to use all these partners, and then you're, you know, lining up the photographer and the videographer, and knowing that you're going to share those assets out with the brand, that's a part of it too. And I believe as well, this is your process in how you're creating content. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that content? Because it is a little Tamagotchi that grows and grows and grows. It's content creation is its own, I mean, you're designers, so that's your job, but content creation is also another job. So there's other ways to do it.
Windsor's the master, so I'm going to let
Yes.
you speak first.
Well, I don't know if I'm the master. I would say I've had limited resources and had to be very scrappy. So I
Photography is expensive.
Yeah. So from being on the marketing side, I just happened to have my very own camera. So that has what has photographed a big majority of my projects. And that's also where, you know, to the feeding the beast kind of section, I've had to really take a look as I started my business in 2020. Great time to start a business. But that's where I've had to look at investments of, you know, what makes sense. And for me, right now, I have put really most of my marketing weight into social media rather than into print. And so that comes with, I think, a set of trade-offs. So maybe I show people everything. I put a lot out there, so magazines maybe aren't necessarily as interested because it has been seen. For me, it has worked, and I have loved that kind of like aspect of it. But I've had to be very scrappy in the sense of some of the client projects I've done, or some of the projects I've had, whether it's timeline or travel or whatever, I have just not had the opportunity to have a full photo shoot set up where we're having people and stylists and all of this stuff. So I've tried to take that on kind of like on the chin and make it work for me. So I do like unboxing videos during our installs. I'll show like all the behind the scenes. And what I've found is it's crazy how much people retain and how much they remember off of that. And I do think that in this world of kind of like perfection, that it is nice for people sometimes to see content that feels a little more relatable. And obviously, I want my work to look beautiful and perfect, and I think you see that in the end. But I think sharing that, even from, I've done like from coming in the showroom, selecting pieces, to like, hey, we're unboxing it, to hey, here's the finished picture. And I think that gives people a better sense of what they're really signing up for, or what I'm really doing on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, so I would say my strategy has been, I am like feeding the beast as much as I can, putting everything and anything out there. And I think it works on both sides, because even on the brand side, like during markets and all that stuff, you know, whatever 300,000 people come to market, how are we talking to all these designers and trade professionals? And that's something that I've also experienced with brand partnerships of, we're talking to two audiences here. You know, we have other designers watching us, and we have clients, and clients have such a small knowledge of the industry. So you really have to walk the tightrope of what you're sharing, how you're sharing it, and what makes sense to kind of please both parties.
I will say for us, like, we do all of our content in-house. We are designers. It's a team effort. We do our own content. For us, it's very important that we're the people speaking to our audience. We were approached with a brand partnership, and one of my first, you know, on the business side, I'm like, this is going to be expensive to shoot, and obviously we hire out photography and videography and use professionals for that. And a brand ambassador partnership is a great opportunity for you to negotiate pricing with your partner. So one of the things that we were very excited about was, yes, you're going to have product opportunities, but on the other end, you're going to have this like long-term price benefit. And when you're coming to market, like your main goal should be to negotiate pricing with your sales reps. You know, when tariffs and price, all these, I think there was more price increases during COVID, even worse than tariffs, but instead of increasing your price to your client, your goal should be, how can I create partnerships with my brands to get my costs down? Talk about your shipping rates, talk about the most cost-effective way to ship, and then that is gonna more than make up for any cost of social media or photography, but really benefit your client as well, because you can give things to them at a lower price point maybe than if you were not negotiating your costs.
That's a huge differentiator. That's
Right.
a really
And
good
it
point.
makes
Yeah.
sense in our business model because what we're doing is we're designing an entire home. And so when we come to market, we're not necessarily buying at showrooms. We're getting knowledge and seeing the product, experiencing the product, feeling, touching, all the things so that we can say, yes, we've sat in this couch. It is so comfortable. If our clients are tall, we need to make sure that we're taking that into consideration. Also, too, the homes that we're building, the scale is outrageous and massive. And so when we have the opportunity to have a light fixture that will be the proper scale, it's huge. So, yes, or a cluster of them. But yeah, like Yvonne said, the whole education part of things is fantastic with Regina, but it also goes to educating your clients. So, yeah.
In terms of investment, I always say it depends on the project and the end goal. And I'm always invested in photography, but I have 3 levels of investment in photography. And so if it's a project that I probably won't share and I just want to have it for archive, I'll use a real estate photographer. Yeah. Yes, or iPhone. And then if it's a project that's great, and maybe there's a few vignettes or a few rooms that look beautiful, then I'll go to the next level of a photographer that's pretty good in our area, but not like top. But if it is a project where I'm like 3 times a year, I'm gonna use the really expensive photographer who's booked out for 3 months, then I'll do that as well. So it totally depends on the project. I am on a struggle to get more videography and video because I too deal with I want it to be perfect. And I think you just encouraged me that it doesn't need to be perfect. People want to see the process. And followers have said to me, show more of that, show more behind the scenes. So I'm encouraging myself, and I'm also encouraging you guys that video is now king. And don't wait until you spend, 5 figures on a videographer. Just get the camera and do it.
Yeah, and I think just to touch on that, I think that we're in a huge tipping point kind of what content matters. And I think that's where the investment is really important, because I will post the most beautiful photo that we have spent days editing, and it's 63 likes. And I'm like, okay. And then I'll post a video of me walking through being like, hey, I love the brass finish on this, really cool. And it's 400,000 views, so it's
Insane.
Video really is becoming king, and it's such a different medium. And you also have to be so much more careful with video because you can't erase that cord out of the shot. It really is a different medium. But again, I think that looking forward, it's where do you invest, and how do you make that decision is a big factor of your business.
It's so
100%.
true. I almost am embarrassed that it has so many views, but my viral video is me doing a home goods thing. And I'm like, I saw another influencer do it, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me just get my camera, prop it up at Home Goods, look like a crazy person, and take video of myself shopping in Home Goods. And it has almost 500,000 views. And I'm like, what in the world?
I'll tell you why, because we've all been tasked through social media to become kind of amateur content producers. We're now Hollywood, video, we're producing sort of small films. However, what people want is something you can maybe find access to the product. You really can spend, and you should, not to say that part of your business, crafting these gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous photographs is part of the legacy of your point of view, and you need to do that. But what happens when you spend, just a few minutes to just kind of casually walk people through, you give them access to you. You give them access to something that okay, the product again, the photo is a space. all of those things are consumable, but you as a person, you as a like human being behind a creative, right? A creative behind this process, you break open and introduce people to an entirely new way of seeing the world, and that's what people really want. That's why that content goes viral.
Right.
So
And that's like full circle, right? You want to attract the clients that, you know, you guys are, that you're in sync with. So the more authentic and real you are, you're going to attract those clients. And, you know, when the perfect client comes along and you match, it's a dream job. Obviously, there's a lot of things behind it, but it's that full transparency, education at the beginning, and that connection, which really seals the deal on a, you know, beautiful project.
Yeah, and I was going to say to both of your points, I think that clients are, like, it's almost like dating. Like, clients are really, you know, you have to
Or
have the right
therapy
fit.
sessions, or therapy.
Yeah. But I think that what video and what, to your point, I've actually done a lot of home goods things myself, gone on TikTok and like said, hey, here's what I would do. But one of my best clients, who we've actually done 3 homes for, out of state, they have paid for travel, wonderful, wonderful clients. They've now had me help their daughters in another state. Like, they've been wonderful clients. They DM'd me on TikTok and said I had gone to Home Goods, and they were like, oh my gosh, we're doing a rental beach house. You know, we would love to like talk to you about doing a home affordably, because we loved all of your selections and you were so funny and this and that and whatever. And I sit there and think, I'm so glad that I took the risk to not feel so elevated or whatever, because I feel like that's a big thing in this industry, is like we have to be so serious and moody and all these things. But it's like, I think that setting the guard down, because it's like that's how we are with clients when we're in their kitchen and talking to them and saying like, oh no, you're not going to want this or what, like that's how you talk to people. And I think that bringing a sense of authenticity to people will always sparks, again, emotion, and I think that that's what people hold on to, again, because we're exposed to so much content.
Okay, so we're going to move into Q&A in a few minutes because I know you have lots of questions. But I do want to ask one more kind of quick question to you guys. So if you were advising a designer who wants to approach a brand for the first time and do a brand ambassadorship or begin their journey into this world of partnerships and potentially, you know, licensing or you know, this journey will navigate in a different way for everyone. What's your best advice, and what should they not do? As well as, I mean, like, where do you see this stuff heading in the next couple of years? Where do you see it heading, and what are some, you know, maybe future projections? So what to do, what not to do. Or where do you think it's going?
I was just going to say, make sure you're purchasing the product and that you actually love the product and you're using it. You obviously have to speak to the product in a way that your clients will love it, but it has to be product that you're going to stand behind. Like you were kind of saying before with your previous experience, I would let the relationship build naturally, but that's just like what has worked for us. It is a 50-50 relationship, and so for the two of us, it was just very important that we felt connected to the brand. But I think you can just also go and approach a brand as well. I think there's something to be said about planting a seed and letting that seed grow into something special and just getting to know people and spending time with people.
It's a relationships business, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what I would say as well. It starts with the relationship, and it doesn't have to be a humongous like licensing deal or a long-term brand partnership. It could be one initiative. It could be something really small just to kind of start and see if it's beneficial for both parties, and then you grow from there. So I think I said earlier, it's all new to the industry and to us, this extended version of brand partnerships. And so I think brands are open to ideas that you may have on how to work with them. So that's my suggestion. Be creative and be open to starting small.
Yeah, and I would say too, I think bring on a formula that's already working. So if you have like certain styles of, you know, design or styles of content that are performing well, or that, you know, I've had a lot of projects where I've had somebody I've posted something and 50 people will message me and say, where did you get that leather tray or whatever? And I'm like, okay, seems like there's a market for leather trays here, you know? So that's where I think
Smart.
that you have to really hone into that and see what people are picking up on. And I think that that's something that then you can kind of, it's almost, you know, market research that you're bringing to the brand to say, hey, I have this perspective that you guys may not have, and how can we work together to make that work?
That's so smart. All of the, so good suggestions.
It's
Yeah.
huge. One of the reasons we're partners with Regina is their attentiveness to the feedback is phenomenal. When we're building a new home, the construction phase is totally crazy, and we give good feedback as far as like light fixtures. Where is the electric plate placed on the light fixture itself? We like to do sconces over nightstands. Can we move that box down a bit so that it kisses the top of the nightstand? So things like that, they are so great with really listening to our feedback as designers and behind the scenes. And so we really love and appreciate that about our partnership with you guys. And then also to implementing anything that, you know, we have envisioned that we haven't like seen on the market yet. You know, we're sending, we need this, and it feels like you guys are implementing those ideas, which we love. Yeah.
Such a good panel. Okay, let's open it up for questions. Happy to run the microphone over to you. Since we're recording, want to make sure we capture these. What are you thinking about? What's in your head right now? What's going through your mind? Who wants to do a brand partnership?
Do any of you represent brands that are competitors with each other?
Go for it.
Want to hear it?
No.
So I also am a brand ambassador for Wildwood Home, and I wouldn't say it's a competitor, but they're also a lighting manufacturer. But I feel like very different styles in a lot of ways, kind of a different price point too. Wildwood is also direct to the trade versus, you know, this is direct to consumer as well. So for me, I think it makes sense. I usually I would say if I'm doing someone's home, I wouldn't be necessarily mixing the product anyway. So it kind of is client and style dependent. So I think it, even though they're similar, it still makes a lot of sense for me.
Who's next? Hi.
When you're talking about approaching the brand, who is the person that you're actually approaching? Is it your rep? Is it someone in the showroom? Like, what's logistically, what is the first step?
I mean, I think the ultimate goal is to connect with the marketing team, but you perhaps could go through your rep to create a warm introduction. That's my suggestion.
I would also say just going direct on social, because usually I think people think that with brands that there's like this massive team of hundreds of people running their social media, and usually it's a handful of people. So I think if you can send them a DM and say, hey, who could I reach out to? I have a couple ideas, or I want to share photos. That's always a great way to get the ball rolling.
Yes, we love tagging the products that we stand behind, and so that's another big thing is, you know, take a really beautiful photo of the chandelier or the accessories or the leather tray, but tagging the brand that you really feel like confident in is huge. Another, you know, tip I would say is
She kind of answered.
what Yvonne said. Use the product, see how it works, make sure you can stand behind it. But what happened with us is I feel like it was just very organic, and we haven't approached brands. I feel like we don't have, like, we're exhausted with all the things, but it was just beautiful to be able to have it happen organically. So that's our experience.
What's a timeline? Like what's a reasonable amount of time something like this takes place in? Is this months, years,
Maybe just a couple months,
Yeah,
like
or
up to
how-
6 months.
couple months?
How broad what you're doing is, because I think that if it's licensing, I mean, it could be years. It
Right.
could be, you know, it's a long time. I think it depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish and how detailed, and if you're trying to kind of figure it out together and experiment.
Right, we're experimenting. I'm like, this is our first partnership, and so far so good.
Our primary goal obviously is to service our clients, and social media has always taken a back seat, and it's just authentically happened from the projects that we've created for our clients. And so we, we're only working with Regina right now because this is something that works for both of us. But as far as the timeline goes, you need time we had content obviously from before that we can use, but I would say there's a few months to organize the processes with the company. They're going to give you a list of their expectations, and then you need to funnel that down to your social media team. And then there's going to be a little bit of a delay in photography and projects that are coming up. So I feel like there's a little bit of maybe a quarter lag time, 3 months, and then it should just roll organically.
Yeah. Questions? Ooh. Here.
Okay. Have you ever received an overwhelming amount of negativity to a piece of content that you've shared? And can you talk a little bit about what that was and the reaction and how you handled it?
Don't read the comments.
Yes.
Being on television, my goodness, that has opened me up to people's opinions and all the things. And I was like, y'all don't even know the half of the story. Like, I used that for a certain reason, whatever. So, yeah, I just think you have to just take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. Just don't read the comments. It's good. The more that your brand grows, the more you expose yourself to positive and negative feedback. So, yeah.
It drives, it drives the views, all the things.
What do they say?
Yeah.
All press is good press?
Yes. Right. Keep it going. Yeah.
We have a funny story. So we did a home a few years ago that was absolutely massive. I think the patio sliders were 14 or 18 feet tall. And we were just starting getting into content where we wanted to be in more of the videos. Prior to that, it was like, here's the products and here's the rooms. And we're like, all the videos that are trending have the owners in them. Like, let's try this. So we did a parade home. I'm like, I'm going to pour a glass of champagne and just like walk to the fireplace and sit down. And we got so many comments like, is this a miniature person? Like, the room, this is the hugest living room. And they're like, why is she staring at the fireplace like that? And we actually gathered our team and had like a little party and read all the comments, and we were dying. Like, but it was amazing. It was funny. I will say YouTube's a little tougher. Like, we have a YouTube page where we'll do full video walkthroughs of our home to like talk about all the furniture and explain everything. People are a little bit more crazy on there. But I feel like on Instagram, it's been nothing crazy. But that one was hilarious.
Yeah, I think
Someone was like, we're trying to, what did they say? Designers are forcing everyone to chop pillows. I'm like, why are people, people just really can find anything negative to say.
Yeah. I also think to that, it's the platform for sure. Instagram people are nice.
Yeah.
TikTok, I would say on a weekly basis, I have a ton of hate comments, and not about the product. Like, people always like the rooms or whatever. It's usually about me. And
Right?
like
It's the worst.
my voice or my clothes or whatever. But one of the first ones I did that went viral was a similar thing. I'm very much a casual person, and like on a daily basis, I'm like ripping boxes open and have sheetrock dust all over me and whatever. And I had been on a project, and a friend of mine was like, you should go to Home Goods and do a Home Goods video. So I went, and I was just like, oh, da-da-da. Thousands of comments of like, why would I listen to a guy with this wrinkled shirt? And like,
Oh my God.
I had shorts on and I had white sneakers, and I thought they were no-show socks, but they weren't, and they were black, and everyone was like, I would never listen to someone who wears black socks with white sneakers.
But yeah, they are, and they're commenting, and they're listening.
Yeah, so I would say that, and my mom is like always like, how did that so mean? And I'm like, I think it's funny, and I'm like, if anything, I guess people are talking. But I would say that's the thing you have to have the thickest skin for, is like, I think putting yourself out there, especially on TV, putting yourself out there opens the world up to everybody's a critic when they're behind a computer or an iPhone or whatever. So
That's
just
actually been like probably the worst thing of it all. I didn't really realize that. I found out my biggest fear is being in front of the camera. I want to be behind the scenes. I don't need to be in front, Everyone's crazy.
You have a question? Yeah.
Hi, good morning. So, My question is, how do you find a balance between staying authentic and just kind of being able to be vulnerable and be yourself in your content, but also kind of having or putting out a, what do you call it, like a visual of yourself that you say, hey, I can be attractive to this kind of brand. If this is a luxury brand or any type of brand, how do you do that?
That's hard. First day on when we filmed Renovation Resort on HGTV, I showed up to set and I was like, this is how I'm going to show up on camera. And I need to be this way. And I have a strategy. And my producer was like, oh, no, honey. Like, she was like, you really just have to be vulnerable. No one loves perfect Patty. Like, they want you to, like, fail and make mistakes. And then they sort of celebrate when you win.
Yeah, it's relatable.
Yeah. Yep, back to that. So I often struggle with this. I don't know if I have a perfect answer. I just tell myself, relax, breathe, let loose. But also, we're doing work. So you still have to be professional. So I just give a little, and then I pull myself back when I'm doing too much. I don't have an answer. But I do think that you have to be authentic professionally.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And I also think that the level of platform you're using, so like I'm very much more casual on stories. So like I'll film in the car and be like, hey, I'm driving to this. I want to show you guys, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe on my reel, I'm like, today I'm so inspired by, whatever. It seems a little more professional. So I think that finding that balance there, because you don't want to feel too perfect, and you also don't want to feel like you're just, like a 14-year-old on TikTok doing dances. So you have to find the balance.
There's a marketer named Seth Godin who writes a ton of, and for years and years and years, he's been writing about marketing. And he said something that really stuck with me. I don't know if you know him, Rasheeda, or not, but yeah. He said, so there's a difference between consistency and authenticity. Authenticity, if you think about like an Uber driver, say you're in an Uber and the Uber driver's having a really bad day. He's swerving, he's like rage driving, honking, you don't feel safe, he's calling someone while you're in the car. That's his authentic self. Like he's literally being like expressing himself. You want him to be consistent. Like you want a consistently safe and forgettable most of the time experience with Uber, but the difference between being authentic, right? You have to temper what face, like you said, you put out there and you pull it back, but you know what that line is, you know what your audience really loves, and you know what feels right as far as like giving enough away of your personality, and that takes time. There's no shortcut really to any of this, but when it comes to content, it's like
Just be you. Just
figuring
be
it out.
You, right? Just be happy, smile, explain what you're doing, why you're doing the project, and just be you. Like I said before, you're going to get the people that will vibe with you, and it's the perfect fit.
I would say just concentrate on your work, put your head down and do your best work. And then when you have the time to share that work, that is going to be authentic. You can't force it, I love like when Nikki's doing videos, she'll say why she selected something. We selected this because it goes with this table in a different room that you can't see right now, but when you're walking through the space, it's cohesive. So I think people love to learn, and information is key when you're sharing.
Yeah. Other questions? We're here. I know you got them. Anyone? You guys have been a really excellent audience, and you guys have been a really incredible panel. Thank you so much for all the insight and honesty and just cool vibe. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Regina, Andrew, Detroit. Go and have a wonderful day and talk. You guys will stick around for a little while.
Yes, we'd love to meet
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
This
you.
is
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.